I'm Ashley Christian, and today let's talk about how getting your name, address, and phone number right on Google makes a huge difference and how much money you'll make to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you don't have your name, address, and phone number correct with Google, especially on your Google business profile, if you're an excavation, septic, or site prep company, you're going to be in trouble with Google. Google's not going to like it because they're going to know that they can't trust you. Google's really smart and they know a scary amount of information about us, and they're a for-profit business. Their whole plan is to make the best possible platform for users. So the better job they do at keeping their users happy, the more money that they're going to make. So keeping their users happy is super important. If you don't have your name, address, and phone number exactly the same everywhere on the internet, because Google crawls the entire internet. So we're not just talking about your Google business profile, we're also talking about your website, your Yelp, your Instagram, your Facebook, your Angie's List, like anywhere on the internet that your company is mentioned, you need your name, address, and phone number to be exactly the same because Google knows if it's not. And if Google sees that it's not, even if it's just you've moved or you just didn't pay attention or you had someone who was doing it for you, didn't put in the right information or added an extra phrase to the name of your company. Maybe sometimes you use LLC and sometimes you don't. So it's not like you're being purposeful, but if that's wrong somewhere, Google's going to penalize you for it. And this is why, okay? We all have been around the business long enough to know that there's some slimy people out there who will really fraud people they'll say they're going to do work for them. They won't do the work. They'll collect the money or they'll half do the job, collect the money, and they'll do that enough times that enough people get mad about it. And then they'll report them to their local police or to their local news station. And it's like a he said, she said, but kind of like a he said sort of situation. And then this guy that happens to will sometimes he'll move cities, he'll move states, and he'll open up a brand new business again. Or maybe he'll just try to open up a new business, but under a different LLC because he's trying to escape his slimy, sleazy reputation of being a terrible business person. And that stuff really actually happens. I have come across that stuff in my work that I do with excavation, septic, and site prep companies. So if that's you and you're just trying to skirt the internet and hope that it doesn't notice, it does notice. And it's really important that you keep this consistent everywhere. So your name, address, phone number, you want it to be the same. Put yourself into Google and see everywhere that you show up and compare it. And if you see anything that's off, go fix it. If you're just kind of a sloppy person and you're sloppy with how you name yourself, go fix it. Make sure it's the right thing everywhere. Now, the one caveat to this that I will say that it's okay if you have a different phone number is oftentimes we use tracking phone numbers. You may have heard of this before. There's a really popular software called CallRail. We actually use a different software to track all of our clients' leads for them. But in your Google business profile, it is important to have that tracking phone number in that profile. So that way, if you're getting calls from it, we know where they're coming from. That's a really important part because if you're aiming at something, you have to have a target. If you don't have a target, you don't have any way to measure whether or not you're accurate. And so tracking all of your leads is how we understand how accurate are we being with your marketing? What's the ROI? Is it working? We're results obsessed over here at Groundbreaker Marketing. So that's why we track everything, because how can we be results obsessed if we can't actually see the results? The Google business profile can have 2 phone numbers. They can have 3 phone numbers, but you really only want 2. You want your tracking number as your primary and your regular office phone number. And then on your website, we also do dynamic phone number swapping on our clients' websites. So, and this happens to you as a consumer all the time and you don't know it. So I'm cluing you in onto, some of our clients see this and they're just shocked at the amount of information that you can get off the internet. So if this is a little scary to you, I understand, but it's best practiced in all of advertising, and it's been around for a very, very, very long time. So it's nothing new. So on your website, we'll put a code in that basically your base phone number stays the same. So when Google crawls your website, it's going to see that same phone number. But when a customer comes and visits your website, it's going to show a number pool. So it's one of 4 numbers, or if you have a lot of traffic, maybe 6 phone numbers, or 8 if you have a ton of traffic. No one will notice the difference when you put this tracking number in there. They'll just call, it'll ring you as normal, but then we know where that phone call came from. So this is still works really well with having your name, address, phone number consistent across the internet, because it's a swapping that happens at a code level. Also, if you have a website, it's really important to have a schema markup, which is basically a string of code that tells Google what your website is about. And especially if you have that schema markup, also match everything on your Google business profile and even embed your Google business profile link. That's really a strong trust factor with Google. So that's really helpful as well. Another thing that you can do that you also need to make certain is that your hours of operation are the same everywhere. So this is sort of like a subtopic, but it is important to keep your hours of operation consistent across the board. So whatever you have listed in your Google business profile is what you need to have listed on your website. It needs to be really consistent. And then you also put that in your schema markup in the back of your website. If you have a WordPress website, you can get a plugin that's a schema markup plugin, and you can actually tell it all these things and do that. We also have our Groundbreaker AI software that will generate a schema markup from your Google business profile and put that onto your website so that the two interconnect with each other. Anytime you can interlink different online properties and say, hey, these two have a relationship with each other, it's really helpful with Google. A few more nuances with this, just things that you might not have thought about. Whenever you spell your address, you actually want to spell it the same way every single time. So if you live on 1367 Southwest 87th Street, suite number 105, that is a real easy address to abbreviate because it's so long. But you want to make sure whether you abbreviate street or you abbreviate Southwest or suite, whatever you abbreviate, if you do that, you need to have it abbreviated everywhere. So even down to those minute details, keep it exactly the same everywhere on the internet. The other thing is some of y'all really need to nail down your business name. Some of you have, and I know this because I've seen it, and I love y'all and you guys are awesome, but you just have to get a single business name. You can't have it different so many different ways. So it is okay to have an overarching entity. Maybe that's an S Corp that you have, or it's an LLC, and then you have the LLC owns another LLC, or maybe your S Corp owns an LLC. These are all pretty common. These and many more sort of configurations, legal business configurations. It's okay to have that. And it's totally okay to have your top level entity be different than your DBA. So your DBA is your doing business as. So if you have whatever you use for your banking information and your EIN number and all that stuff, but then you're operating under a different business name, okay. You just need to make sure you get a piece of paperwork that's a DBA. Here in Texas, it's real easy to get a DBA. It's $9. You just go to the county clerk's office and they print it out for you and you have it. I think you can also register for it online as well. So DBA is really easy to get, but you're going to need that DBA. It's very important. Not only is it important for Google, what we're talking about here, but it's also important whenever you go to do any kind of paid advertising. When you do paid advertising, Google, Microsoft, usually those two, sometimes Facebook in some instances, is going to ask for your foundation documents for you to prove who you are. That's because fraud is a freaking nightmare and rampant in paid advertising right now. It's affecting so many people. And so Google, especially Google and Microsoft, are both trying to really tighten down the reins and make sure that bad actors don't get into your account and start something they shouldn't. So they have this thing called advertiser verification. And that's also true for local service ads. If you do those, they have a whole bunch of steps that you have to take. You have to put in your business license. I think that if you're in Septic, sometimes you have to put in, it depends on your state, but you have to put in Septic licenses for the different kinds of septic work that you do, whether that's maintenance or installs or pumping, all those different licenses that you get. You have to put those in. Sometimes people also do main drain work. If they're in the septic business, you're going to need a plumber's license for that. So all these things, you want to make sure that you're not only for Google's sake on the outside, but on the inside, you want to keep all these things straight, because when Google asks for you to prove, okay, you have this name on your Google business profile and you have this name on your local service ad account, if those two names don't match, Google is not going to allow you to advertise on their platform. So it is really important that those names match. And when you make those names match, then Google is going to ask you for your foundation documents. They're going to ask you for your EIN number and your DBA. And it's okay if sometimes they even ask for your proof of insurance if you're running local service ads. They don't do that for Google pay-per-click ads, but they do that for local service ads. So you're really going to want to have that. It's very important to have everything the same, and it's okay to have a DBA. So as long as you have that DBA document, it's okay to have a different name. You just want to make sure that you have that nailed down and that you nail down your name. If you're going to use LLC in your name, which you don't have to, I have some clients that they love using LLC in their name. It's just their jam. For them, they feel like it legitimizes them and is really important. From a marketing perspective, you don't have to have LLC in your name. You can be an LLC, but you don't have to use it in your actual name. But whether or not you use it or not, you're going to need to have it the same everywhere, no extra phrases. So that's it for today. That was just a quick little training on how to keep your crap together with your business and your name and your address and phone number. Maybe you're super disorganized. Maybe your truck is like a science experiment happening in there, with hats and old burritos and whatever kind of paperwork you have all over the floor. Maybe that's just how you operate, and that's fine. But as a business owner, please organize your name, address, and phone number. If you don't have this right, Google is going to penalize you for it. If Google penalizes you, whether we love them or hate them, they are the number one player in search. They take up 80% of the search volume. So they have 80% of all searches are going to go through Google. We have to play Google's game. So make sure you play their game, get all your stuff straight.